Why you say she was mean?
The
You mean
mom, she was just like,
the flying chick on the
yeah,
screen?
yeah.
The Mabo or whatever. I guess.
Mama chick. Mm.
Welcome to the Rocket Launcher Podcast, episode 112. I am your host, Supreme King, and join with me as always is my co-host, and his name is.
Kyle Mazes, the one who thinks that she's mean. Is she not
She's
mean?
me.
Like,
The
she was hurling some insults like crazy at the front. Even
yeah,
though I know it was all in Futama's head, I thought it was so bad. I was like, dang.
yeah. Shout out to Persona 5. We didn't really. I don't know if you didn't see the Tokyo Game Show, did you?
No.
The Xbox
In
one
my head, it was
and nah, it was this morning, I guess, or quote unquote last night for for everybody over there. But I took a lot of notes and stuff for it. Well, actually, I didn't take notes. I made some reference to the highlights because it wasn't anything on it that was like really what we haven't seen before. Majority of the stuff, pretty much all of the stuff we've seen before, it's just more here it is presented towards everyone overseas, and then we're just like, like try to keep you hyped for it. But anyways, yeah, welcome to the show for everybody. Thank you for joining in. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I think a lot of people want to hear our opinions on the Sony state of play first. You said it was trash?
It was trash. It wasn't trash.
I mean,
things I liked and things I didn't.
well, I guess we can get into it. So the actual show itself was a little bit over 40 minutes, and it was, in my opinion, one of their better formatted shows. I thought that they did the format very well. I didn't have too many complaints or anything about that. They claimed it was 20 games. I didn't really count, but I guess it was 20 games here. And yeah, it came and it went through. And how you feel about it?
Real quick, I did see this comment that somebody said. It was like, man, Sony's really trying to go all in on this PSVR. And in my head, I was like, 20 games, and 3 of them have VR, and only 2 of them require VR. I wouldn't really call that going all in, but sure, like, you think that, like, when I saw that comment. But overall, I thought it was a good show, even though the main event, the main reveal was a game I don't really care about, Monster Hunter. It was good for the Monster Hunter fans. So shout out for them.
You know that was your favorite game of the whole night.
Not my
Don't
favorite
even
game,
front.
Y'all don't understand, for those listening, y'all don't understand. We were supposed to hop in this game co-op, and it just...
You sat there and got mad because you got pieced over by one of them little creature things in the very beginning of the thing.
It ran. It ran. I found it. It ran again. Like, it kept running.
And I think that was Monster Hunter World, if I'm not mistaken. I still actually wanted to go back into it and complete the single player part at least, because it didn't seem like it was really that long. It seemed like the part that was long was like all the multiplayer stuff, but that's deep in the show. I think they started off, it kind of confused me for a second, because when they show Astro, I was like, why is the DLC the game just came out? Like, why wasn't it in the main game? But I think it was all the speed running stuff. That's similar to some of the stuff that was on the Playroom one as well.
Free.
Yeah, and it was free.
When they first talked to the Astrobot people, they were already even saying beforehand, I believe, that like they had a lot of fun making the game. They're happy with the reception. They don't plan on really doing this whole bunch of they planned on doing like DLC, but I believe they even said in advance they weren't planning on charging for anything. They were just gonna keep adding stuff to the game as like a celebration sort of thing. So at least so far they're holding on to that word. So free DLC with some speed runs, 10 new bots in it. The game is good.
I would like for it to be like automatically added in, and you don't have to go to the store and try to like claim anything, but you probably would. But Yeah, that's probably PlayStation's game of the year, for this year. Unless you want to count Helldivers, I don't know which one was bigger. I think right now Astro has the more hype, but I mean
Yeah,
that's
you know
recency bias though. So
what helps with Astro, and I've seen a lot of the descriptions, like describe it to me, and I feel like I agree. It's just fun, right? Like there's a lot of games where it's like you got your good, but then here's this thing maybe it doesn't do too well, or that you don't like, or like everything will have its random weird ups and downs. But like this game is just like joy. And honestly, it's like when you play it, it's a great game. Is it going to be the greatest game you ever play ever? Probably not. Like it's, but it's just as you play it, the whole thing is just you're having fun the whole time. So I think that helps.
yeah, it's one of the bigger games this year. It's probably going to be in the Game of the Year contender list. Which I don't even know who the final games would be, or
Oh,
what
I
the
got
final games would be. But I know this one would definitely be one of them.
yeah,
And
Astrobot, Final Fantasy. Um, I'm gonna just say it right now, Black Myth Wukong. I don't care about the the random wannabe controversy around it. Black Myth Wukong.
that game ain't
Uh,
gonna be. They ain't gonna. It's the
Helldivers is out.
fans' game of the year. That it's not gonna show up. They gonna hide it.
Mm.
That's
It's
what,
getting it's
I
gonna be
really
a
think
bigger
that's what's gonna
travesty than
happen.
Harry Potter.
They are given like the lowest amount of awards nominations ever.
Crazy.
But game of the like, if I honestly believe it's not gonna be in that category if it does show up, it's gonna be like I think how Starfield was, where it was like Starfield was mentioned in like one category or something. I think that's what they will do to it. I honestly think they will do that to it. Um,
They
but
might.
to the fans, of course, is one of them. Even if it didn't win, of course, it's in the list. But
Yeah.
I don't think that they're gonna make it be in the list. But anyways, I think we should probably stay on track for right now.
My fault.
No, you're all right. It's so after Astro, this is where VR did show up, and I actually like I wasn't too interested in the games, but I do think it's important that a lot of the showcase had VR sprinkled in it, because for a while that was a system where it seemed like it was unsupported, or it appeared that way, even though games were still going to it. It just didn't feel like it was being supported, and this is like where it was put on the forefront. So I appreciate the games being there. And then what do you think about that?
Minor detail. I like that they wasn't just like back to back for the
Yeah,
VR games, like
yeah.
being sprinkled out. It made it feel more like here's another game to be excited about. Here's another one. This one happens to be VR, versus the show feeling like here's the VR portion, right?
Hmm.
That you can skip if you want to. Like that, I like that. It makes it to me just feel a little more important.
Yeah, there was like one particular VR game that was somewhere in there. I think towards like halfway in, I think it was called Metro Awakening. I think I wrote down. I honestly thought it was the game Stalker 2, but just in VR. And they were going to just announce we got a VR version of Stalker 2,
Oh
even though
yes,
Stalker 2 ain't even out yet. Because it looked so much like it. But no, it was his own thing. But yeah, the VR stuff did show up in a big way. I actually think that was really good to have. Now for me personally, it still doesn't really sell me on like buying the VR headset, but at least I know they're building some sort of roster on the platform in general. Um, and that's probably something, going forward, that people can really be excited about if they are going to get VR, because I don't think VR should just be this is an experience. I think because an experience is like that's when you go pick up a headset at a museum or something.
yeah.
It's like you want to really play it, right? You want to really have it as a system that you pick up and you play all the time. And they're gonna have to, like, keep bringing out more games to do so. But the last thing you want to do is buy a system that's more than $500 and you got less than 10 games.
Yeah.
So yeah, but um, the next game I guess that I wrote down and that they showed was called Hell Is Us. I don't really care
Uh-huh.
too much for this title,
Mhm.
but
It
I
looked like a good game though.
Hell is y'all, heaven is me. I don't know about the rest, but that's what I'm rolling with. But yeah, yeah. How you feel about that one? Scare you?
It looked like a good game. Like it's that I think it was that action adventure looking game. It reminded me a little of like Remnant,
Mm-hmm.
where it just seems like there was like secrets everywhere. The monsters were creepy. I'll probably try it out.
I don't want to get negative yet, but I do want to go there real quick. There was this game, and then there was a game. I think it was called Archie Ace Chronicles. Both of them kind of look
Archego,
good. What's up?
maybe. Is it like Archego Chronicles or something like that?
I thought it was Archie. I don't know. I think I wrote it down
TH.
ARCHE. Maybe I didn't write it right. But Ace Chronicles or something. They didn't really give a due date, but they said 2025 on that one.
Oh yeah, you're right. Arch H Chronicles.
Hell is us in that particular game. Honestly, as a action adventure game, I am all for playing it. But if I find out they're both Souls likes, I'm not playing it.
Oh,
I'm gonna be
yeah.
honest.
So, I was actually listening to a video about this
Mm-hmm,
because I didn't pick up Souls like right away. Like I don't
mm-hmm,
think dodging in a combat automatically makes it Souls like, right? Like it
mm-hmm.
looked like he was knocking out these enemies a little too swiftly. Uh, in the first one, The Hell Is Us,
Mm-hmm.
as I was watching it, and apparently there has been a lot of articles just trying to describe it as Souls like, but there hasn't really been anything that like confirmed it. So I'm feeling like that word is just being thrown around, and it's starting to become like if the enemy isn't defeated within one hit, and if
Yeah.
you have to dodge or parry, it is now considered Souls like. Like I feel like it's getting a little too thrown out there. I didn't see anything that made that was us Souls like. It just looked like a scary
Yeah,
adventure action game.
it was more in the combat for me. It didn't really look like it was at the exact same pace. It was just in my head I was just thinking like if it's more action adventure, a little bit more like 3D hack and slash, then
Yeah.
I will play it. It's when they cuz I'm already having an issue with companies attempting to copy from software, but like not necessarily surpassing them. And I know it would be blasphemous to say for any Souls player that anybody could ever be better than From Software. And I can understand it's like it's not necessarily that they are, it's just that it seems like some of them are just making games, but they're not trying to match the quality of what From
Yeah.
Software is. And that's why for those two I was just like they look good in their presentation, but I was just like, man, I don't know if it really is that. Like for example, if they have to keep walking back for a second and drink a potion,
Yeah.
that will be the indicator right there. Which is funny because you think like to piggyback off of like the news around Pokemon and Power World, if we find out all of a sudden like From Software patent that, like it'd be funny. Like what if somebody else patents it and From Software didn't, and then all of a sudden
Oh,
they can't
you
use it
gotta
no
be
more,
whoever made like live
bro?
TV or
It
something.
would be some threats. It would be some real life threats. But yeah,
But
I
yeah,
am
I
interested in
got.
those two though. I'm still
It
interested,
looked
but
good, but like I said, I feel like he was looking a little too sweet in the combat to for it to be Souls like.
yeah, we have to
I don't know. Sometimes you're a little too like some of them combos was like a little too good in my head to be like this is a Souls like. Like Souls like for me is hit dodge hit dodge. Like that's to be a Souls like that. Just didn't feel that way. He was like over here hitting super moves with his drone. So I don't know.
It was just by the time we got to that point too, the second game, I remember writing in the notes like, is this a horror show? Like it seemed like it was just
Oh
horror
yeah,
for a split second.
because it was
Um
3 back-to-back horror games, right?
yeah, it was back to back
Midnight
horror.
Walk, Hell is Us, Metro Awakening. Like, yeah, it was just,
Yeah. I might wish list both of these right after we're done here and just so I can like keep up. But yeah, I was just like they look good, but I'm a little skeptical on that. But are
okay.
these two games that you think you would play or buy?
Oh, the Hell is Us one, yeah. The Archage Chronicle, I have to relook at it because I don't exactly remember. I wrote it down, but I don't remember what it looked like.
Hell is Us stood out a little bit better.
Yeah.
That one did stand out a little bit better. Them little weird monster creatures that was kind of like hollow in the middle or something. Like it was,
Uh-huh.
they were creepy enough to stand out. You know, Silent Hill ish creepy. But
Yeah, I'm looking up images. I remember the Archage Chronicle. That's why I wrote it down. Yeah,
mhm.
this one looked good. Both of
Yeah,
these look good.
yeah. So I'm definitely gonna be paying attention. But yeah, the very next thing, funny enough, was Power World,
Yeah.
and it was funny to me because of all the recent news with it. I remember people were thinking that this version might be canceled effective immediately, and you know other things surrounding a Power World, but it seems like business as usual immediately. So it is coming to PlayStation now. Now I could probably say it may not ever come to Nintendo. It may not ever come to Nintendo at all, but you will see this on PlayStation, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And actually, no, if I'm not mistaken, they said that's on there now. So if anybody really wanted it to play it now on PlayStation, you could play it. I kind of wanted to still stick with the PC version when I get around to it, but I'm actually still now kind of wanting to like just follow the story of it first. But it sounds like the people are going to be able to still play this no matter what's going on, at least for right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, Power World is there. Are you excited to see Power World? Was you surprised at all by to see Power World?
Uh, I don't know. I wouldn't say surprise. Like I feel like I knew it was coming to PS5, but it was like, oh, neat that it's on PS5. But well, like I didn't for it or anything.
Okay. This is where, for a split second, for me, the show just sort of took a nosedive.
Okay.
I can't really explain it too much, but the way I would say is, it became for me a Nintendo Direct. Like at this
Mm,
point, um, because like we can go through some of the stuff. There's still a lot of stuff here that I thought was still cool, but at this point, literally, it was like all ports and a bunch of stuff from the past. And it was like they dug deep in the past too. And it really was looking like Game Boy Advance stuff, PS2 stuff. I'm like, this is what you see on the Switch. This is not what you would normally catch from
yeah.
PlayStation. So I was a little surprised, but
Although I personally am excited for what's it called, the Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2. I never
yeah.
played those as a kid. They looked cool. I just never played them, so I'm excited for those. But a lot of stuff did.
Yeah, Legacy of Kain was one of them that was originally on the PS2.
Yeah.
I recognized it right away because I have like the emulation PC version. Um, but to backtrack real quick, I think the very next one that was shown was actually interesting enough. The Lunar Collection, and the Lunar Collection, I think they said was going to be available spring 2025. This was something that I had just like downloaded for emulation, and what was crazy was I think it was the night before this show that I did the originals, and I remember just sitting there like, what? And then it just proceeded to be all the back to back like ports, but a whole bunch of stuff that we've seen that are like the bigger stuff too. And then that game that I said looked like Stalker 2, which was the Metro Awakening VR. But yeah, the Lunar Collection is something I do recommend people go check out. It does look pretty cool if you are someone who is into, the old school RPGs that have more of a Game Boy Advance kind of look to it. Um, yeah, that was introduced by the host of the show, I guess, or the host of the moment. I think I put her name was Markeisha Cerny. So she showed up and she showed this game and then showed like the TMNT like DLC, which I think they said was like that was also free, if I'm not mistaken. And I think they also advertised like I guess a soundtrack too. You can get the soundtrack. I think the original TMT Shredder's Revenge game was like 3.5 hours long, and that was why I didn't really touch it yet. But at least this would probably add more content for anybody out there. Hopefully, it'll be another hour or two. Are you interested in playing this or playing the Lunar Collection?
I might check out the Lunar Collection. I might check it out. I don't want to get into the Shredder's Revenge like as much as I want to try it. I feel like the side scroller beat 'em ups are very similar, and I'm saving that energy for Power Rangers.
Yeah, I'm gonna play both, but yeah, they showed that they had like the I want to say a soundtrack for one other game too that I don't think I wrote down.
Yeah, Stellar Blade.
Yeah, okay, Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade, I think also didn't they say there's like some crossover content with
with Nier Automata.
Yeah. So
Automata.
that all of that was shown. So that was pretty cool for what it was. Now the Stellar Blade stuff, if
Okay.
I was just gonna say the Stellar Blade stuff, like there was one thing that they mentioned that I think was gonna like really take a nosedive on the internet once they get their hands on it. But I guess they mentioned Stellar Blade was gonna have photo mode. It's like you already know what's about to happen with that. But yeah, it's Stellar Blade's gonna have photo mode.
I
So
know they do it.
yeah, of
But
course.
also, when you mention crossovers, Keanu
Mhm.
Reeves is going to be part of the Sonic X Shadow.
Yeah,
Since he's doing the voice of Shadow.
yeah, they mentioned that. I am gonna get that Sonic game. I'm gonna be honest. The last like 2 or 3 Sonic games I've bought them discounted, but they've been coming out like almost every year, and I have not been playing them. I'm gonna be honest, but I do think I'm still gonna get that one too. But afterwards, like they got to be deep sales. I mean, most of them that I've been getting them have all been that deep sales anyway. 20-ish dollars usually around Black Friday time. Um, I think right after this, they're absolutely going to introduce another one because they've been consistent now where it's been a game a year for Sonic. As crazy as that seems, which I think they're up like 5 or 6 games right now in the past, like pandemic till now. I think. Which
I feel like growing up, like that was the name I would always hear for games because they used to get all experimental too. Right? Like I just feel like there's always Sonic.
they're a little bit better at it now than before. You had him making out with a chick. He was turned into a werewolf. He had a sword at one point, I think. Like they,
And now he's back to running.
that's the one. Yeah, that's the one game they don't need to experiment with. Like everybody else can experiment a little bit, not Sonic. Like Sonic, no, don't do that. But yeah, the Shadow game. Shadow looks a lot more furry here. I think I've ever seen him that furry before. When they like zoomed in on his feet and stuff, he was looking more wolfish himself. But yeah, and then they showed like after the VR game that I've been mentioning so far, they showed Dragon Age and they showed like one of their like boss fights, I guess. How do you feel about this
They
fight?
kept cutting at the boss fight, so I knew the person kept dying. But I it seeing the combat made me feel a little bit better about the game. Like seeing the combat, the way the characters were talking to each other, the field management system that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been worried. I was so afraid that this game was gonna Saints Row reboot Dragon Age.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to see some stuff. I'm not a big fan of the Canary look. Those are the bull looking people.
Okay.
They had like a slightly different design in Inquisition where they looked a little more monstrous and like the horns looked a little more natural because they looked more creature like, where now it just looks like a human with like horns and blue skin. So I'm not a fan of that, but the gameplay looks fun. So I'm way more sold on this game now.
Yeah, some there has been some small pushback from what I've seen, strictly for the, like, I guess, graphic design. Some people feel like it looks a little Disney to them, from what I was seeing.
Fair.
Which I could kind of understand that. I don't know how much I can be mad at them for it, but
Yeah, it looks like they upscaled the graphics, but it makes it look a little more, I guess, cartoon version.
But I think that was the same energy Saints Row got, but Saints Row was like 10 times worse.
Yeah.
It was like probably 100 times worse. Like right then and there. They were not feeling that whatsoever. But yeah. I thought the boss fight ish was fine and everything. And I think at some point it went from just boss fight to like almost like a war, right? Like it was like it was like a war or something that was happening. But yeah, yeah, still a single player game, right?
Yes.
It's kind of confusing for anybody who's like on the outside looking in, wanting to play this, you know.
So Dragon Age it's a single player game where you manage a party. So like you play as one character, but you can tell the other ones what to do. Just like Guardians of the Galaxy. But a little more field management. It looks like this one went easier on the field management stuff. But then it's just a deep RPG. Great game.
They followed it up with like a quick kind of teaser, I guess, surrounding Alan Wake 2, and it's supposed to be a DLC that's going to come out October 24th.
And this is the DLC that ties it to Control. Heavy.
Yeah, it's just it's weird because if anybody paid attention, their last release of this game was a physical release finally that was called the Deluxe Edition. And now we have the DLC, so that's a little confusing in itself. I guess if anybody's picking up the deluxe version that's physical, if you can find it, I'm willing to bet that you don't get no free code to this. I think this is not going to be like going forward. If you see like physical copies in the store and it says deluxe edition, do not think that it's going to have this DLC. You're still gonna have to pay for this DLC after that, just so anybody's aware, because I don't think everybody's catching up or keeping up with this game like that. But I can see how that's confusing, especially for someone who wants to be a physical collector. You know, I will buy the DLC at some point. I do have the digital version of this game under Epic. That is actually one of the one games that I did buy from Epic.
You do get it.
Huh?
Alan Wake 2, the deluxe edition comes with the Night Springs expansion and the Lake House expansion.
Oh, so but did they mention that on the thing, like you get it or whatever?
Yeah, no, they didn't mention it.
Okay.
But I think if you got the deluxe edition initially, it said you would have access to the 2 planned DLCs. So
okay, well, maybe I was mistaken.
Planned DLC.
Okay.
Is coming out now.
Okay, because I didn't really have that much time to look into it. I just kind of I thought about that because I knew.
They didn't say it as like, if you have the deluxe, you get it from, like.
Yeah, because
if you got the deluxe, you would have known that you get it.
Okay. Well, yeah, my mistake there. I just know there was initial backlash towards them because they came out with that like mad late. It was just
Yeah.
like now they here's the deluxe version and here's the physical version. Well, that's good. That's good then. That's good then. I think I still had the base version, and so I would have to like basically get it myself. But
Either buy the two or get the deluxe
deluxe
upgrade.
upgrade,
Yeah.
probably the deluxe upgrade is what I would see like a discount on at some point, and so I would get that. It would be really good to try that out with this computer I got now though. Hitman VR or Hitman World of Assassinations VR. Anybody who had the original Hitman 3, somewhere in the middle of Hitman 3 they decided to change the name and do all of this. So that's what this is, and this is the VR version. That's big for people who want to play VR. I remember when they first introduced this or first announced this, I was a little cringed at like some of the screenshots of it, because when it's VR, you're like quite literally performing the acts of like you
Yeah, that's
know.
the fun part.
I know it's the fun part. It seemed a little odd to me to to really perform it like it's
Yeah.
different from like you shoot the gun or whatever. It's like no, he had the wire. It was like right around the
Yeah.
person's neck. I'm like, oh man. Can you imagine if
Yeah.
they did Manhunt from back in the day in VR, bro? Like we,
Like
like yo, like you turn somebody into a crazy person overnight. Um,
they monitor the game and like call the cops if you a little too good at it.
how you feel about this? Is this something did this sell you on VR too?
No.
It's still not sold on VR too. It has a few VR games here. This is like one of the bigger names though. But yeah. Shout out to Hitman VR. Anybody who does have VR too, I'm pretty sure they were very much more excited about this show. Because there was more here for a system that was probably not really pulling any weight as of late. Then we went back to some ports. We started off with Legacy of Kain. They were showing, I guess, they were like kind of like switching back and forth. Like here's the old version, here's the new version. Um, are you excited to play this?
I
Or do
am.
you? Okay.
Oh, because like I said, as a kid, it was not like I seen it, but like it wasn't my money for buying the game, so you always got to kind of carefully pick and choose which games you were gonna get. And this one looked cool, but it wasn't one of the ones that I grabbed. So I'm excited to. I know I can always emulate, but like I am excited to play it now with some updated graphics and stuff and really check it out because I've only ever heard positive things about it.
Yeah, usually when it comes to emulation for me though, if there is a much more like remaster version of it, and it's a true remaster and not like a money grab, then I would always recommend go ahead and paying for the better version. But if it's just a straight port, like the next set of stuff, then it's like I don't know, because this is like at this point they really was into their Nintendo mode. Because we brought back Markeisha Cerny, and she came with like a list of all these games, and it was just like all this old stuff. This might be the first time I've seen this from PlayStation though, but this is what we've been seeing from Nintendo for a few years now, and it was just like here are all these games, and I like a lot of stuff I do kind of have. So I didn't really pull anything from this section because they kind of threw stuff together. Was there something in
Was this
this?
the part when they said this is enhanced for the PS5?
Yeah, it was a bunch of stuff.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, no, I made a separate list to like write down all the games they mentioned,
yeah.
and but like some of them bothered me. Like for example, it was like when they said Dragon Dogma 2, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that came out this year. Like, what you
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, what do you mean is enhanced? Or when I hear Hogwarts Legacy, because I played that game in my head, I'm like, did you what? Now you don't have to load when you go out the main door, like where it's like because that was the only thing that didn't look like upscaled in there. Everything else looked great.
Mm-hmm.
So they even mentioned Veilguard, and I'm like, it didn't even come out yet. Like, what do you mean the PS5 is gonna look even better when it didn't even come out yet? Like, or for the enhanced version for the PS5 Pro. I don't know. It was just some of
Yeah, the
these. It was
Pro is a
like
little bit further down. Yeah.
I don't know. In my head is like I don't know how much better. It reminds me of how like there was a period of time for like wrestling games where the update was basically just like you could see the sweat, and it's like
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
it feels like.
I remember. Yeah, so when they showed a bunch of ports, I had rolled my eyes at this point. This was probably the lowest point for me. Just because I was not really expecting that from a PlayStation State of Play.
Yeah.
But I think at some point too, in the middle of that, they went to Lego Fortnite, and I was
Yeah.
really just like, "Yo, this is just." It was really just looking like a Nintendo show to me. But yeah, they did the Lego Fortnite, and then they went from that to Dynasty Warriors Origin. And what's
Mhm.
really funny about this is because they kept showing so many ports. When they said Dynasty Warriors, my mind also looked at this as if it was a port, but
No.
this actually wasn't. But it was just how it was presented, But this is the point where we were starting to move away from the ports for a second. But Dynasty Warriors is your typical warrior game where you hack and slash and like 15 people like fall back per slash and it's like 100,000 people on the screen and all that stuff. And so that's basically what that game is. If you're into that, here's a new one. And then that's when we got to your favorite game, which is probably one of the biggest games for the show.
Mhm.
Interestingly placed, I guess, too. Monster Hunter Wilds. I actually thought that this one had probably the better graphics of the night
Mhm.
for what they had. But there was other points in it where I knew it was Monster Hunter, but I was almost confused because we were still coming off of the ports. Like I thought it might have been a remaster in itself because like when they showed the pet creature that comes with you, like the cats and stuff, I
Yeah.
was like automatically thinking it was one of the other ones where they were just remastering it. But no, it's a brand new game. Monster Hunter Wilds with an S.
Mhm.
Um, and I guess I think I don't know if this or Resident Evil is the biggest franchise for them for Capcom, but Monster Hunter is still a very very large
Mhm.
franchise in itself for them. So it was kind of a big deal for Capcom, big deal for this show. And yeah, I'm gonna let you have the floor for a minute. I know this is your game of the year. You're voting for this. 10 times better than Astro. You heard it from him, not me. How you feel?
No, I don't care about this game. Like, good for the people who like Monster Hunter. Right? It doesn't have to. The show doesn't have to be tailored to me. So shout out to y'all. But like, this ain't for me. Like, I don't. Good for that. Like, I don't care. I was more impressed with the Veilguard gameplay, but good for Monster Hunter.
It was basically the same game. I ain't gonna hold you up. That was basically like
Yeah.
the same thing was going on though. How you like Velgar, you don't like this. It's the same.
Veilguard was a story-driven thing where you fought a dragon. This is let me collect some dragon scales so I can build an armor, and I'm gonna have to collect some more dragon scales later. They're vastly different.
They had a
I'm
actually
not a fan of this
let me
game.
backtrack for a second too, because the way Pow World was presented actually earlier in this show, I think that might have been the first time I've ever seen them present it that way. They had a full cinematic trailer. It almost looked like it was about to be like a story in itself. Um, yeah, like that game, Dragon Age and Monster Hunter, they all had like some cinematic looks to them. But yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds was the next one. They followed this up with Lego Horizon. When they showed Lego Horizon, in my head, I was just like, "All right, bro, like,
Yeah,
like this
why?
ain't new when it's deep in this show." Um, and they showed it off. I mean, we've already seen it, and we've seen a few of these other games, but yeah, Lego Horizon. I'll play it at some point. It might be mad late in this generation when I play. Like by the time the generation is over, is when I might actually pop this in. But yeah, that was in there. How about you? You think this is one of your favorite games of the night? What do you think?
No.
You on the
Yeah,
Horizon, man?
no. Lego games are fun though, so I'll eventually play it. Uh, but no, it's just there.
Um,
But then right after it, they talked about the remaster for Zero Dawn. That if you already own it, you can pay $10.
yeah, I found that to be interesting enough because I really thought it was going to be. I don't know if that was a last minute thing or if they've already planned it, but I think they knew they were going to have somewhat of a backlash for this game if they told everybody you were going to have to pay the full $60 or $70 for it. Because they got away with it somewhat with Last of Us Part 1. Where I was like, no, you really do got to buy this again. Where I don't think that I think they read the room and they probably was like, we don't want to deal with the situation we just dealt with like Concord. That's just my thought process. And so they introduced a $10 upgrade. For me, it's almost as if it's the lesser of two evils in a way. But um, I am one of the people who owns the quote unquote complete edition of the PS4 version. I think both digitally and physically. But I'm not too sure if I really necessarily need the PS5 $10 upgrade. We'll see. Maybe if I watch somebody's tech video that's just really shows me that it's so much more better. This
Yeah.
is one of them games where I don't even know if it's necessary for, just because of Horizon. Horizon has gotten beaten by a few other games, basically. Every time they try to come out with one. But yeah, I will at least say it's the lesser of two evils. I still feel like you should only have to pay for the game once. Any updates and stuff should just be applied. But at the very least, for somebody who's really, really interested in this, you can quite literally go and get the game used for a few bucks out there in the wild and then just apply the upgrade. Similar to some of the other games. And even Horizon Forbidden West, there's some loopholes out there for people. Check some previous episodes of that. But yes, they showed the real one. I think they gave a due date on this. This was actually a little weird to me because they put the due date for Halloween. And in my head, I'm like, you're going to get outshadowed by some horror game. Like, I don't know why you put it there instead of, like, you could have easily
Also,
said November 2nd
Veilguard,
or 3rd. Yeah.
Veilguard is the 30th.
Yeah, I don't know. Horizon can't catch a break. I don't think anybody's going to be trying to rush to get this. They should have said surprise right now. It's $10 and is ready, but I don't know. At this point, they threw out a bunch of controllers, Chrome
Oh,
controllers
yeah,
and stuff.
let's talk about that real quick. So,
Yeah.
yeah, they showed off, um, the white, purple, and green, like pearl controller, like pearlescent, like back in the '90s when
hmm
depending on what angle you're looking at the car determines the color you see. So they dropped those. The controllers, you can buy. The plates are only for the Slim and the Pro, not for
Yeah.
the original PS5. So I didn't realize that those were out of production, and that
hmm
more people own the regular PS5 than they do the Slim PS5, but they're only catering these plates to the Slim PS5.
Yeah, we gonna really go into detail about that type of thing in a second, but like I think it's a little counterproductive on their end to do that because of the amount of people that really do have the original and how they're just all of a sudden like we're not
Forgotten about.
supporting the original no more. Like I can understand if you did not put out any more of the units, but somebody's got to like take in consideration you've got 4 or 5 times the amount of the originals out there and not that many people had the slim hasn't even really been out that long, but like all the plates and stuff is now centered towards the slim and that pro model, and there's like not one new design for the regular plates. The plates are another thing that has not been put in stores that I felt
Mm-hmm.
like should be in stores. Because it's like not everybody has time to fight over the internet for this stuff, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, they put the Chrome controllers out there. I didn't really think any of them looked like something I would want. Um, I do kind of still want the 30th edition controller. We'll get to that in a second. But these Chrome ones not really looking good to me. How do you like them? You gonna get one?
I kind of like the green one a little bit, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just because I like the color green. Uh, so it looks okay. So I don't know. I just want it in the store. I
Yeah,
would
I
like
don't
to
know.
walk into the store, see it, and impulsively buy it. I don't
What
want
I'm
to
not
think.
understanding with a lot of these stores is like, what exactly are you gonna have in here for somebody to come in here to get? Because
Yeah.
at some point it's gonna be like, well, ain't gonna be no reason to come in here, so they're not even gonna get the other stuff. Where if you put it in the store, they would have got this and the other thing. Like there were times where I think Luigi's Mansion 3, when that first came out on the Switch, I went in there and grabbed that and groceries and snacks and like juice and stuff, like all in one go with that
Mhm.
game. Where if the game was not in there, I wouldn't have bought a bunch of groceries in there, at least for right then and there. When I went into a Walmart, and I kind of feel like you got to have that thing that drives people in, and then you can cross sell. But you're never gonna cross sell if the main thing is not in there. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't know anything about sales. So. But all right, Markeisha Cerny went away, and she brought out her brother. Mark Cerny has showed up again, and he is doubling down on the PS5 Pro. And he
Mhm.
showed you his compilation of games that can run better on it, which is like all the same old games we've been seeing for a while. I'm pretty sure there was enough people that watched this show that probably beat the whole list already. I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least one person out there that got the full platinum trophy list for all of them already.
Mhm.
But it was also weird because a few people pointed out, and if you go back and look at this one part, when they were showing this off, they were showing like some of the same games more than once
Yeah.
in that little mashup. I think Final
Mhm.
Fantasy was one of the main ones that kept coming up. I think it was like three times at most that it was shown.
Final
Um,
Fantasy was shown a lot. Resident Evil got a couple shows. Horizon got showed like a bunch of times.
yeah,
Stellar Blade as well. Stellar Blade got showed a few times. Jedi Survivor, I think, got showed more than once, but less than some of the others. Uh,
just remember your PlayStation. You don't get plates. It's choppy. It's
mhm.
30 flames frames and yeah.
and I had to fight to get it because they didn't put it in the regularly.
Yeah.
I had to wait and then like be the first one there to go grab one, and then it's not even the best. Like, okay.
All right, they had their main event, and then at some point in the show, because I think we skipped at the PS Plus, but I actually want to stop at this point, and focus a little bit more on the PS5 Pro within this show, because at some point the 30th edition stuff went on sale. I heard it was sold out in seconds. Because of course it was 12,000 plus stuff, right? But it was less than 13,000 units.
Mhm.
So I think it also happened when clearly the actual consumer would be at work, at school, at wherever, because it was like early in the day, and immediately, as anybody would expect, it was all being pushed onto eBay, and it was going on average for more than 4,000 each for this PS5 Pro like bundle, basically. And it's kind of unacceptable. I honestly, got to blame PlayStation directly for this, because it's like what do you think was going to happen? And of course, the average person who wanted it was not going to be able to get it. And with them making like only like 12,000 to begin with, you really just wasted everybody's time. Because if you go back and look at the reveal of it, like how many views they got versus like what was going to be like sold, it was like, what
The
was the
thing
point?
everybody wanted. Everybody
Yeah,
wanted this thing.
I don't understand. And then so the first versions of the controller too, which is the one thing that a lot of people thought they could get, that is being sold out everywhere. That's also, trending on eBay as well. And so you have to wait on that. I'm pretty sure they're gonna keep bringing back the controller, but yeah, you can't get it right now, basically.
Mhm.
Which I just think it was just dumb. It was like, why was that done that way? That's like, you really just wasted everybody's time. You're not going to be able to tell me that, oh, it's a special edition, so you couldn't make any more, like, when it ain't nothing but a color scheme
Paint.
difference at the end of the
It's just
day.
paint. Yeah, just throw it in the
Yeah,
store.
it's like,
Just make it so you acting like, well, people ain't gonna buy this, so like, we're gonna lose a profit. You won't. Look how many people were excited about it. Just put them in the store
yeah.
and let people show up and go buy it.
It reminds me of, like, the Xbox game, not game, but Design Lab. Xbox Design Lab. You can get on that website and just put any old kind of color up in there, and they will spit it out for you. I mean,
Hmm.
they just do it, right? It might take a couple weeks for them to get it to you and stuff, but I got one of my controllers that worked just fine. I've had it since since the beginning of this generation. But they made it a special edition, and this is what happens. And even even they don't get to see any value from that either, because you only sold like 12,000 at retail or something for the bundle and stuff. Everybody else is sitting here trying to get a few $1,000s off of it and stuff.
Yep.
It's not even really PlayStation directly, unless you got some like weird under the table operation going on, which is like, I wouldn't hold it past.
They
Yeah, I
bought it
wouldn't put it
themselves.
past them,
They
after
put it
this
on eBay.
Concord situation, like they got to get that money back, right? But yeah, that's a waste of time. I am interested in the controller, but it looks like one of them things that you just may not get, which is the same. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, it shows its face after the holiday season, where you can at least get it online. But I'm not too sure. It retails, the controller itself retails was like $80, so it's $5 more than their like regular controller. But yeah, how you feel about the scalper situation showing up
Oh,
again?
more
Another
hate it.
scalper situation. You
It's
know,
so easy to avoid, and they just won't do it.
yeah,
It's so
that could have
dumb.
easily just been put in the stores. It's like that was not the same as like, you have a chip shortage and all this other stuff they was using as an excuse before. It's like you could have put that controller in the store. You could have at least made enough initially. Like, I don't, where are they getting this like 12,000 number from? That could have been 120,000 or 1.2 million. Like you could have done it correctly if you wanted to. But they didn't. And so I'm a little upset about it because I wanted the controller, but me, like anybody else who's a normal regular person right now, you was at work during that time. Like, what? I was doing work at that time. Like, I wasn't sitting there refreshing the screen and hoping I got it and then it's gone in less than a minute. Like, no. So that was goofy. And then somewhere in the middle of this, they had the PS Plus games announcement. Um, I was a little surprised that one of their main headliners was the WWE game, but I know that was one of the games where I was on the fence. Like, I don't really want to buy those games ever again, but I'm kind
Mm-hmm.
of curious to play one. And they finally they put this out, and it's still current, so I will probably download it right away and try to put as many, if not, the full amount of created characters as I can, so I can at least have it before they try to take it offline. But yeah, how'd you feel about that and the other games?
For the reveal for the PlayStation Plus, I
Yeah.
uh, I thought it was interesting. The group, one, it's like there's no cohesiveness amongst the group. Like he was,
Hmm.
I guess that you look for like is everything covered, and I guess it is. You have, but two of them are horror.
Yeah.
Oh, which makes sense because it's October. The Doki Doki
Hmm.
Literature Club and Dead Space, which we've talked about before through Epic.
Dead Space
So it's
actually was
cool.
a
I
big
guess I
one
get
though.
Dead Space again.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I had like through Epic, I think. But this is cool.
Yeah.
And then yeah, WWE. I think it's cool. I wasn't gonna buy this one. What I was waiting to do is see how like what new things are gonna be in 2K25, and based off of that, either get 25 or 24 for PC. If I can mod it out. Um, but now I get to at least test 24, and then if I like it, we'll see what I do for PC.
Yeah. Technically, on paper, this was a bigger, um, like, a bigger set of three games. I think for the gamer, Dead Space might be a bigger surprise or a bigger
Yeah.
name than the WWE game. But the WWE game was basically positioned to be the headliner one. So
Which I'm
yeah,
also surprised. I feel like them, like as a wrestling fan, I honestly feel like anybody who's like really planning to play it would have gotten it already. Um,
yeah,
but this is one way. If you get people to try it, they like it, then they might buy the all the DLC packs for it,
yeah. I guess
including the Pat McAfee pack.
I will sit there and look at all of them and then go get the community creations.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, very interesting to see. What was the third game? Because I don't think we mentioned it at all. What was the third
It's
game?
the Doki Doki Literature Club.
Oh, okay, my bad. All right.
Yeah, so it was that game is it's a story driven game where it's more of just like clicking text and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But we've mentioned before, I think I told you where it was like a game that comes off as one of those like weird indie like dating sims games, but then it
Mm-hmm.
ends up taking like a massive twist and just becomes a horror game.
Okay. All
Yeah, we
right.
mentioned it before on the show. I praised it before for Epic Games.
Um. Yeah, their main event was they finally showed an actual new game that was first party, first party. And this was not a sequel, but another story within the universe, hundreds of years later or before. I forgot which one it was, but I know it was 100 years difference, or more than 100 years difference from Ghost of Tsushima. But how you pronounce the name? Ghost of what? What is it?
Yote.
Yote.
Yep.
So we have a female protagonist, and that's already starting to set the internet ablaze.
Which is so stupid.
It's just
Like, wait a second. Like, it's just because the lead is a woman does
Mhm.
not automatically mean woke. Or if the lead is a person of color, it doesn't automatically mean woke. If the lead is a woman and every single villain is a man who thinks, ha ha ha, she's a woman, she can't do nothing,
Mhm.
then yes, it's you can call it woke. But right now, it's just a character. It is just a character.
Yeah, I think it might be just slightly overreacting a little bit for this from
Oh
what
yeah.
I've seen because it didn't really give it a chance to do anything. It's like that was more of a cinematic teaser. It wasn't like actual gameplay. I mean, I'm pretty sure people would expect the gameplay to not be that much different than Ghosts of Tsushima, but it was really like it was just that cinematic trailer. I was actually interested in you know how PlayStation likes to have that little like secondary character that's like half your size next to you. They kind of showed the wolf and kind of like they kind of the coyote or what was it? Coyote wolf, one of the two. They showed the wolf and like they almost alluded to them having like a certain relationship in a way where like it kind of acts on its own, but she's kind of like trained it or whatever. And I was wondering if like maybe the wolf might be a companion piece, you know, in the game, which we don't really know yet. Maybe I might be overthinking it, but yeah, that's what I saw, you know, and that's what I thought of. But what do you think? I'm pretty sure we'll both, you know, play it, of course, and
Yeah, I'm
you
definitely gonna
know,
play it.
hmm
No, the wolf seems like a companion piece. Actually, I don't know. I bet you the wolf is gonna be more in the cinematic stuff than it is
like it's
gonna
just
be
there.
an actual
Yeah.
gameplay. Yeah, like I think there's gonna be like a whole cutscene where she's about to get hurt, and then the wolf comes in to help, and then it cuts to the back of the action. Um, But no, I'm interested to see it. Okay, so and we were talking about this right before. I think my favorite or my most trusted game studio has always been Sucker Punch. I feel like they've always just released great game after great game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, starting with the Sly Cooper, then Infamous, then Ghost. Oh, like I feel like there's a solid track record there. So they're one of the very few companies where if it was like, hey, you want to play this game? It's made by Sucker Punch. I'm gonna play it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely like their name is will get me to try it out. Where everything else I gotta look it up, see what it's about, things like that. They're a company that I kind of trust. Um, and I'm sure they don't make there's gonna be people who's not a fan of like their types of games, and that's fine. But no, I'm gonna try it out. I'm down for it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as time goes on, we'll get more information on it. But yeah, that was the end of it. And like I said before, it was about 40 minutes. It was technically very jam packed for 40 minutes and still flowed very well. But I gotta say, I was more right in the middle on it overall. They showed some good stuff, but then they just showed a crazy amount of ports at one point that just kind of made me roll my eyes a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I didn't really break down the grading for it. I just kind of like wrote down some notes, but I did write down that I wanted to say it was a 5 out of 10. It really was right in the middle. Um, some stuff I'm sure people will be excited for. It was way too many. Like even outside the ports, it was just a lot of stuff that I don't think there was really no world premieres except for the Ghost game. Well, the Ghost and the Monster Hunter Wilds, but I wasn't
Some of the
really.
VR stuff.
Yeah. I guess it just didn't do it for me though. I don't
That's
know.
fair.
It just
That's
didn't do it
fair.
for me. I'm excited for anybody who's looking at it saying like, hey, there is a variety of some VR stuff here now. I'm excited for them. I'm happy for them. Anybody who's really wanting to have it, but for me, the games that I was already gonna play, I had already knew I was gonna play before the show. Um, and it's just like here it is, and it's fine for what it is. But I just said 5 out of 10. What do you think? What do you say?
Six. We'll give
6?
it a 6 out of 10. Um,
Okay.
I feel like for those that are fans of Monster Hunter, this
Mhm.
thing was like, here you go. It did help sell me on Veilguard, which was a game I was already interested in but very worried about.
Mhm.
Um, so this kind of is helped for that. That Hell is Us game looks pretty fun. And the Archage Chronicle game looks fun. Uh, yeah, so I'm a little more sold on some stuff. What brings it down for me is just some of the I don't know, it's just the hate that the original PS5 just gets from them. Uh, but yeah, I'll give it a 6.
It's weird that they would have to go there just to sell it or sell the Pro, but yeah, I guess that's their only way of selling it. But yeah, we can move on. That's the show. That was about an hour of this podcast. I think we're gonna speed through the rest a little bit more, but I just want to shed some light on the middle of the show, which I usually put towards Epic Games, just highlighting a lot of their free stuff that they put out. And we all love free. You can't complain when it's free because it's free, right? But it looked like they slowing down a little bit. They went from 2 games to literally 1 game now, for this week and next week. So I don't know. Maybe they feel like the people are greedy. Is the Fortnite money, starting to finally dry up? I don't know. Hopefully that's not the case. But the first game that they are giving away for free, you can get right now until October 3rd, as of this recording, and that's going to be The Spirit and the Mouse. I think that was something that we spoke on briefly last week, and then the next game is actually Bear and Breakfast. Bear and Breakfast is what it said. And so those are the other games. Bear and Breakfast is from October 3rd to October 10th, for anybody who is interested. And so at October 3rd, you can go ahead and claim this game under Epic. And I guess I also want to mention in this segment, real quick, for anybody out there that may be interested. One of the emulation devices that I have comes from a game, or comes from the company Ambernic, and I guess they are revisiting their SP model of the 35XX, or RG35XX SP is the official name. But they're releasing more colors, I guess, and so if you want, you can get a very nice green apple green, basically, or a nice red color one, or a gray one, and they're all translucent. I'm a very big fan of the translucent stuff, but I think the handheld device I have is far superior at the moment. But that one, they're re-releasing new colors if you're interested. Again, it's a green transparent, red transparent, and gray transparent. The gray transparent one, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think looks that good. And shout out to Xbox, I guess, releasing their Sky Cipher controller that is the gray one, or silver one, however it looks. I think it's officially gray. I think that looks ugly. I'm gonna be honest. Translucent don't work with gray. It don't work with gray. From two different companies, two different pieces of hardware. Neither one of them look good to me. But shout out to them. They released the controller. It is available for if you really want it. Their blue one looks fantastic. Sky Cipher Blue on the Xbox controller, fantastic. But yeah, anybody looking forward to this, go on to the Ambernic website and search this. It's going to be one of the first things that's on the site. I think the retail for it is the same as it was before, but it's still like in the $60 range, if I'm not mistaken, $50-$60. So that's not really that bad if you don't got it at all. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I also wanted to mention that there was a few different shows that happened today that I didn't necessarily feel was the need to try to say, let's watch them, cram them real quick in between whatever's going on today, to fit it for the show, or even watch next week and just come back. But I think we can probably, recommend to people out there, go watch these shows: the Tokyo Game Show, go watch the Convergence show, go watch the Capcom show. The Tokyo Game Show, Xbox show, I believe, is about 2 to 2.5 hours long. I'm pretty sure there was just some countdown time there. Convergence Game Show was about an hour. That was more indie-ish games. Some VR games was there. The Capcom show, honestly, they re-showed Monster Hunter Wilds and a bunch of other Capcom stuff that everybody's seen already. So you didn't really miss too much, but watch the shows for what they are. The Tokyo Game Show, I think, was probably the headliner show if anybody was talking about any gaming show, but kind of similar to once we start getting into the nitty-gritty of the PlayStation State of Play show. It's similar to that, where a lot of stuff they were showing you've already seen, basically. There was no big reveals, but if you want to see more footage of games that you're probably going to already play, definitely watch the show. I think I am still going to watch it once I get a chance to, while I eat food or something this weekend. But yeah, any games or sales or anything you want to tell the people about? Anything in the segment? Any quick news? Not really worth the topic.
Well, I mean, a couple of my stuff is very quick.
All right.
So I can bring them up real quick. That there was an update from Digital Eclipse that said Reader's Rewind, the Power Ranger game, is still on track for 2024. They're still working on it. They don't want to say a date and then go, we have to push it back. So they're just like, it's gonna come out this year, but they rather build anticipation, is how they put it, than disappointment. Assassin's Creed Shadow got pushed back to February. So originally it looked like it was about to release this time around the same time as Veilguard. And, it had its controversy, but moreover, Veilguard has been getting a good amount of hype recently. So it looks like they pushed it back from there. Now They're saying it's because they want to keep working on it, blah blah blah. But they said pre-orders will be refunded, and all future pre-orders will be granted the first expansion for free. But they're moving it back to 2025.
That I found a little interesting. That they refunded the pre-orders.
Yeah.
Because
Usually that doesn't
yeah,
happen. Usually it's just we're pushing the game back. Your pre-order just gets moved, and it's on you to move your pre-order to something else.
yeah, that's something you don't normally hear from a company or a franchise as big as Assassin's Creed, because if it was a L, they would just push the L out and just move to the next one and just keep it moving that fast. But it looks like they want to continue to work on this, I guess.
But them getting rid of pre-orders makes me feel this pushback to February isn't the guaranteed end of the pushing back. Like it might get pushed back even more. Because again, if it was just like we got to push to February, I've seen games like when you go to pre-order. When I used to pre-order at GameStop, it was always like date subject to change, right? Like it
Yeah.
could happen. So the fact that they're like we're going to push it back and refund makes me feel like they're like we think it's going to be February, but we can't promise that. So that scares me a bit about it.
I do find it a little interesting because they're, as a company, like a oil machine in a way. Like they at this point, this ain't nowhere near their first title, right? They should know, how to pace themselves as a game maker, and everything. And I would wonder if they maybe looked at some of the stuff deep in the game and looked at the backlash they got for the dude in the game and said, there's some stuff that we might want to clean up a bit, maybe.
Truth. I think that's part of it, and I think something else that's a little bit of an issue is it seems like every single game is a samurai game now. Like I don't like not to be like rude about versus you have like what was it, the Rise of Ronin, Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei, then you got Assassin's Creed Shadows set in that time period. Even though it's not samurai, but with like Black Myth Wukong still has the like martial art. It's sort of like thing. Like it feels like everything's very feudal Japan and China setting.
Yeah,
And
they would
then
have to
they're
choose.
it's like, how do you make yours look different
Yeah,
than the others, right? Like,
because
when they
you,
were first releasing Assassin's Creed, like, ain't nobody out here in like ancient like France. Like it was just them, but like now it's yeah.
yeah, you would have to, to have the player really sit down and say, which one am I going to get right now? And by the time they get to the next one, they either forgot about it or whatever happened. It's no different than how anybody would say, "Hey, I got a backlog of stuff," and you just don't get to it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they might
Me
think.
personally,
Mhm.
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe they might think that's a better window for them, because February we've seen now in the past few months has been better for some game developers and
Yeah.
publishers. Because I don't know what it was, but February just it's February and October
Yeah.
specifically where all of a sudden everything is overstacked on
Which
those
I
particular
honestly feel like
months.
February is tax season, October is getting ready for Christmas. Without being too close to Christmas,
Hmm.
people are starting to do Christmas shopping in a way. So I feel
Yeah.
like it's easy to just like start buying them.
Yeah, maybe that's some sort of strategy that they have based on some weird data.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pushed
Or
back.
October, it's starting
Hmm.
to get cold. People don't want to go out as much.
Hmm.
So now Friday nights aren't going out. Friday nights are now staying in and gaming. So it's like let's start putting the good stuff in October because now you're not competing on, ooh, can I play my game or do I gotta go out with some friends? Uh, I imagine that, and then again February. I think that has to do with tax season. You get the extra money. Well, let me go buy these 4 games.
Yeah. I wonder how how this will affect their sales, especially when it comes to pre-orders, because there are going to be some people who pre-ordered and they might say, I'm gonna take this as a sign that I shouldn't have pre-ordered, and they
Yeah.
just don't pre-order. Um,
Yeah.
you know, and that would be their fault. They would have to
Mhm.
deal with that. But I'm pretty sure they're aware of how this goes or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
I
actually
got
out
one
of
more topic.
topics, but go ahead for
I got one
you.
more.
Yeah.
Shirley Curry has retired. Skyrim grandma. So she's been like for like years, and I mean years, has been
Mm-hmm.
like just playing Skyrim and posting it on like her gameplay on YouTube, right? But she's now 88 and she is officially retired because she was like, it ain't really that fun anymore. Like, she was like just making the videos and posting the for like Skyrim gameplay started to feel more like a chore than like being excited to actually play. And I thought about it, I'm like, she's been doing this for about like 8, 9 years, and it's like 9 years of just Skyrim only. Like, I'd probably get bored too. So I get you. It's fine. Uh, take a break. But yep, she is officially retired.
Hey, shout out to her. Because she it was inspired by her childhood. But yeah. Anyways, like no. Anyways, I think that's it. I apologize for not having full coverage going into the Tokyo Game Show, Convergence Show, and the Capcom Show. But I encourage people to go out there, definitely watch them for yourself. But there's not too much new stuff here. Really, the new thing was the Ghost of Yamaka or whatever it was. Ghost of Yellow Brick Road. What is it called? Ghost of
Yo,
what is it? Yote. All right, Yellow. All right, Ghost of one of them. Yes, I need a Ghost of Paranormal Activity. That would be lit. So, anyways, yes, more to come as things go on. No solo video for me this week. I have a lot of personal stuff going on. Really, it's just I need to get back onto just the schedule that I'm going to do. But you will see some more frequent stuff going back out next week. There will be a little bit on camera, off camera, but nothing for this week. This is it for this week. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Sorry. And I will see you when I see y'all. Happy gaming and enjoy whatever game you're on. Peace.